talk about the fatherhood and real life. We talk about the pressure, but we show up. They always say you reap just what you sow up. So you know we never slow up. We are the everyday dads, unfiltered. Everyday dads, unfiltered. Everyday dads, unfiltered. Everyday dads, unfiltered. Everyday dads.
It is showtime. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Everyday Dads Unfiltered podcast, where we talk wins, we talk losses, and everything in between. No perfection, no pretending, just real conversations for dads trying to show up better every day. And today, we're talking about narrative. Stories aren't just written, they're lived. And today's guest writes professionally, but more importantly, he's intentional about the life stories he's building. Some people celebrate titles, but others celebrate why those titles matter. My guest is an award-winning copywriter and marketer, someone who blends strategy and creativity to move people and brands. He's a 2-time published author, sharing real-life fuel for living through Homeless in Dallas and Grits and Gospel. These books are thoughtful, grounded, and meant to stick with you. My guest, the author, also writes For the Lack of a Wetter Bird, a newsletter where he mixes culture, music, commentary, and life with a little bit of humor and insight. Writing to audiences shaping strategy, influence, culture, that's his work. But today, we talk about what it means to shape the home, how he is as a husband, and the legacy that he's trying to build as a father. Everybody, please welcome my guest today, Troy Harris II. Welcome, brother.
Man, I need to get what you just wrote, man. Thank you so much for that beautiful intro.
Hey,
You
man.
know, like I feel like I need to write that down so I can like have it for myself.
I got you, man. I got you.
Give it to the next time I'm talking to a college class or doing some kind of something, anything, right? That was
Hey,
good,
man, no problem. I told you I'm a numbers guy, but I at least try to do right by my guests.
Right,
Okay?
man. I'm like, man, is this dude trying to take my job too?
Hey, man. Hey, no.
Hey, remember on Kings of Comedy where Cedric Entertainer was like, man, when Steve Harvey called you out, man, you feel like, man, he'll hype you up so good, you feel like somebody else about to come up.
Yeah.
Man, that's how I felt, man. So I'm happy to be here, bro.
I appreciate that. I'm humbled by that comment because, again, like I said, engineer. My lane is my lane, but I dibble and dabble. Okay.
There you go, man.
I
You're doing a
dibble and
great
dabble.
job with this. Shout out to the podcast Every Dad Unfiltered, as well as your career, man. Known you for almost half my life at this point, man. So that's the crazy part.
A long time. I know. We kind of discussed this on a couple calls prior, and like I told you, man, you were the first guy that you and Sam, of course, the first 2 guys that I actually met when I got the fam. So
Yeah.
been knowing each other a long time, for sure.
Shout out to Sam, man. That's
Yeah,
my boy,
yeah.
my best friend, business partner, man.
Yeah.
All the above. And the
Y'all
godfather too.
been kicking it together a long time.
Kids.
Yes.
Godfather, one of my kids, which seems very relevant here.
Yes, absolutely. You gotta put in a good word for him, man, so we can have him on the pod if he has kids.
Well, here's the thing. He doesn't have kids. Him and his wife are married, and they don't have any kids. But as soon as they do, I got you. If he's listening, this is your cue, Chanel.
I got you. All right, man. We're gonna break off into the first segment. It's called Who Raised You? So in this segment, we talk about a little bit about your upbringing, where you from, and then how do you take some of those life lessons from your parents, your elders, or your guardians, and then how do you implement those into your everyday life now as a father? So
All right.
who raised you? Who raised Troy Harris?
Yeah. So the question is, who raised Troy Harris? I'm gonna start with my parents.
Okay.
Right? Mom and dad. Blessing to have had them my whole life. And I was born in California, in the Bay Area, so San Jose, San Francisco area. And I spent pretty much my whole first 4 years out there. I moved to Atlanta right after my little sister was born, right before kindergarten. And so my dad grew up in California, so he's got this very much so West Coast, breezy sort of attitude, approach,
I got you.
lightheartedness. But he's got a lot of grit to him, a lot of work ethic to it, because both of his parents were from Louisiana. So his mom was
Gotcha.
from New Orleans. My granddad, his dad was from Monroe, Louisiana, whose
Gotcha.
parents were slaves. His
Okay.
granddad worked. My granddad worked on the Ford plant pretty much through the Great Migration, going up to Lorain, Ohio, where my dad was actually born, and followed that right on out to the West Coast.
Gotcha.
Retired from Ford. Actually got my first car through the grandfathered in sort of like small discount they give you on new cars. Um, and so, long story short, he's got a good mix of those two things coming from him. My mom, on the other hand, is from Macon, Georgia, more specifically Gray, Georgia. So people think of Macon, Georgia as like an hour south of Atlanta, a town
Right.
that's an hour south of.
Right.
So it's always referred to as, in reference to Atlanta. Gray is 15 miles outside of Macon. So that lets you know like that is
Gotcha.
sort of how it is. And so straight country folks.
Yeah, for sure.
But at the same time, that work ethic and sort of ambition, right? They met at college. They met in college, and then before long, I was born, and that's who raised me at the very core of it all, right? Family-centric, hardworking people. Um, Obviously, there's a big difference between millennials, boomers, and then even further than that, their parents being, I guess, part of the greatest generation. I'm not sure exactly how it would line up. Maybe the silent generation. Either way, every generation has a different way of raising
Right.
their kids and just the way they were raised. But one thing I think that I've seen throughout it all is just the attention to being loving and being loved. Um, Sometimes they showed that love through time and effort and sacrifice, whether it was like summer camps and baseball games and basketball games and football games. Other times it was through like, money, right? Trying to find ways to just get things done, like everything from like, man, what's the best way for me to get a car, to all
Yeah.
the way down to how am I gonna get gas in the car, right? Like it's
Right.
like
Right.
wondering like raising us was a very much so exercise in everyday plugging away at becoming better for themselves and then passing that down to me and my sister.
Gotcha.
So my parents, sacrifice, love, and just stick to itness, I think is the biggest thing that I learned from them. But I wasn't just raised by them. I had aunties, uncles, have aunties and uncles. My dad had 5, 6 brothers. My mom, two brothers, one sister, a bunch of cousins, which naturally gave me a lot of cousins. And that gave us a more of a communal upbringing than I think a lot of people had. And
Yeah.
so in and out the doors, whose house, they all lived
Yeah.
back in Great Georgia, so small. They lived like their houses were right next to each other. And so I got a chance to see like what that communal upbringing looked like,
Yeah.
right? Like they from the country, she's from the country town where you can like yell out to somebody riding a bike,
Right.
like, yeah, get out the street. That's not
Yeah.
safe. You can't tell kids that no more,
No,
right?
no,
Or
no.
the type of town where she go to
Them,
school and see
them ain't the
her aunts.
times we live in no more.
Yeah, like her aunts and like friends' parents were the 8th grade teacher. Then her mama was the 3rd grade teacher. Then the principal was her second cut. Like, so to the point where like everybody sort of had it takes a village was like really more than just a mentality. It was a lifestyle. And so like that led to my aunt Donna, rest in peace, probably my main outside of my parents person that raised me. And she wasn't even a blood relative, but you know how it is. We're black folks, right?
Yeah.
Cousins,
Yeah.
aunties, uncles, people who care as much about you or almost as much, right? As humanly possible as they do about their own kids, right? And I think that helped me growing up. Shout out to Uncle Fred, same way. And then all my aunts, Aunt Janice, Aunt Phil, um, Auntie Bonnie,
Yeah.
Uncle Bunga, man, we had it all, man. And so, and most of that showed me. Oh, and my favorite two uncles, Deuce and Bill. What's up, y'all? And shout out to Auntie Terry too. Those, but so what I began to notice by the way I was raised was you're instilling values in people by the way you live, right? So the people who befriend you, the people who you spend the most time around, they typically have the best interest for your child at heart. And that's when I learned. A lot of times with kids, as a kid myself, and having children, they have different ways that they want to receive information.
Right.
And I think my parents noticed at an early age, like, well, when your mom says something, it's not as easy to hear. But maybe if you funnel that message through like your aunt or your uncle,
Yeah.
then maybe it's like, okay, cool. Let me chill out a little bit, man. Uncle told me I need to vibe. But really, that could have just been a message from my mom or my dad.
Right.
And then lastly, but certainly not least, my sister. She's younger than me, but at the same time, like reverse mentoring works in the workplace. It's the same way in our household. Like you learn things, you can learn from yourself, even in retrospect, by watching somebody else grow up behind you, right? The environment that you've created for them is oftentimes the environment that you've grown up in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so it's almost like a reflection of who you are, who you've become, and maybe even in some cases where you're on the way towards. And that's what my sister was for me, even though she was younger. And then just today, man, I learned from my friends, podcasts like this, people like you, folks I've known for 20 years, folks I've known for 2 years, my wife even, friends I have, like people are in the same situation as you, sometimes in a way different situation than you. It's always something to learn from somebody else.
Right.
And so I try to continue to take that childlike approach to life. Not childish, because we're too grown for that, but the childlike approach, meaning that like there's always something you can learn, something you can be better from.
Understood. Good. That's beautiful, man. Yeah. Community is, and we both 90s babies, so community was always big. And you said you had an Uncle Bunga. Now he has to be on your mom's side. With a country.
Bunga went to Alcorn, dog. He from
Oh,
Mississippi, bro.
okay.
You
I was
know what
about
I'm
to say
saying?
because I got an Uncle Buddy Boy and a John Howard, so you know
Yeah, you get what I'm
I'm for,
saying?
so,
Bunga from Mississippi, man. He went to
okay,
Alcorn.
yeah.
He
We
actually
tapped
still
in.
is to this
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
Bunga was super cool though, man. He actually lived in my neighborhood, so another one of the non-relative uncle figures in my life,
Gotcha.
especially as I got to be a teenager. But yeah, he was always super sharp, super smart, man. He's an alpha too.
Okay.
And funny enough, man, well, he let him tell it. He used to tutor Steve McNair back in Alcorn.
Wow.
That's his claim to
Okay.
fame because they both went
Okay.
to Alcorn at the same time. So
That's
Aaron
pretty
McNair was
big.
getting tutored by my uncle.
Steve the Air McNair for
Yeah,
sure.
man, co-MVP
Okay.
2003.
Okay.
Rest in peace, though. Rest in peace.
For sure. RIP to McNair. Next question I want to ask, and you kind of segued into it. What are some of the things that you absorbed from your childhood and your upbringing and how you were raised that you're trying to redefine with your own kids currently?
Okay, now that's a good question because it's a lot, right? So I think as parents, and funny thing enough, I think this was on an episode of Fresh Prince that I saw when I was a kid. It makes sense to me when I got older.
Yeah.
Uncle Phil, he came from the pure country, was wrestling pigs and shit, but he made it to become like, Uncle Phil. So
Right.
respected lawyer and all that.
Right.
He was talking to Aunt Viv and he was just like, we focus so hard on trying to give the kids the things that we didn't have growing up. And sometimes we overlook and it just breeze past the things that we did, right? Some of the simpler pleasures, some of the challenges that come with growing up, and mostly the love that was always there. Sometimes you can get caught up in that. And so for me, trying to decode a lot of separating the art from the artist in some ways is what you have to do because more so than a because I said so or a how can I put this, like I'm the parent, you're the child, this is why, right? What the parents were saying back then, which is a fair thought, which was that now I wouldn't suggest or imply anything that would intentionally hurt you.
Right.
I'm in charge of you and I do that with pride, and therefore it really perturbs me when you don't do exactly what I've said.
Right.
And there may be consequences, you know what I mean?
Right.
How it
Right.
was.
Right.
That worked to a certain extent, right? Fear is a great motivator. Always will be, always has been. But I think a lot of what our generation is doing, and especially what I try to do, both with my son's mom and my wife, my daughter's mom, you know what I mean? Is I think we are all and have been on the same page. And like I said, it's not just us, it's many people I've come across with adding a little bit more autonomy to the children's life, right? Like I do want it is very much so a fine line between respect and fear, right?
I
And I
got
don't
you.
want to be a fearful sort of like dictator in that regard. And I think that based on the ways in which society was in the 90s, 80s, and well before that, obviously even worse, Black people had to be so on top of things. They had to protect these assets, which were the children, with
Right.
such vigor. And we had to rule with the iron fist because there was no room for error. There was no room
Yeah.
to even dream in many cases. And I think as we continue to like push the envelope, as our generation comes and then the next, we'll get more space that allows us to color outside the lines a little bit based on what we learned growing up. But doing all of that while not trying to undo the great things that we miss and that we really, really hate aren't in our lives anymore. Like, I don't know, like going to the ballpark when we used to play baseball and being up there all day and eating the fries. Everybody knows the fries at the baseball park, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Not
Yeah.
the professional, like the little league
Yeah.
was always the best fries. I don't know why. And every park I ever went to, they had the best fries. And we sit up there all day and run around all day. We come home when the streetlights came on, right? Like the world is not a safe place per se. And that's some things that we probably miss more than are here today, man. So it's a good balance between that. Um, and I'm just thankful for the ways in which I was raised. Thankful for what they did for me. And it becomes easier and easier as I get older to sort of decode where was the love
Yeah.
and where was the action.
Yeah.
What was really meant by what was said or done or implemented, and what is an alternative way to go about that? Because they weren't wrong. They might
Yeah.
have been early, they might have been harsh, but they weren't wrong. And so that's my main goal, man. What I'm trying to get better at.
Yeah. I think like you said it well. Our parents raised us with the best tools that they had. And within that, like, my mom, single parent, and she was raising two boys. So, like you said, no room for error, because with boys, it's either two ways. It's either they're gonna go on the straight and narrow or they're gonna go to the streets. It's simple
Very
in
few
that.
options.
So my mom was very, stern in that regard, but what I'm saying, it built character in me. It built, what I'm saying, focus in me. It built discipline in me, amongst that. But like you said, as you grow and mature, as you get older, you're able to kind of take in what you need and kind of regurgitate the good things that you want to give off to your
It's
kids.
just a filter.
Yeah.
That's a way to put it.
Yeah.
You're filtering out, like,
Yeah.
take the things you would like, put the things back that you would not like.
Right.
Don't leave your bucket empty. Pick up stuff from everywhere. Pick up, like, just things that other people's parents did that I was like, wow, I wish it was like that. There was things that other people's parents did that made me more thoughtful and thoughtful and thankful of what was going on in my home. Nobody says you had to just plug and play the entire book from the ways in which you came up, right? You can always put a little remix to it.
Great storyteller. And just in this opening segment, a question I want to ask is, and this is kind of off cue from what I had originally, how much of what you write today is about or is influenced by the people that raised you?
Oh, a lot. I realized that. So, for starters, I hated writing and reading growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I realize now it was probably a little bit of like, it wasn't just that like, hey, it was boring. I'd rather be talking to girls or playing basketball.
Right.
Because
Right.
that's what it felt like at the time. But I think it just might have just been like, bro, the video games exist. You are developing some form of like ADD.
Right.
I
Right.
mean,
Right.
like, just like the collective whatever we all got. So it was hard to just sit down and read a damn book.
Right.
But by the time I started applying for colleges, right,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom was very, very much so intent on making sure I applied myself because, like you said before, especially with Black boys,
Mm-hmm.
there is a world in which we have so much pressure on us from our parents in some ways that we crumble or we act out in that regard. But there's another world in which, without that stern upbringing that you talked about that your mom had, there's a world in which you go one of the other way, right? You're either in the streets or you or you become an engineer, right?
Right.
And I guess the lesser of the two evils is to stay on you. So long story short, she's like making sure I'm on time with my college apps, right? Because leave it to a 15, 16, 17-year-old kid, he may be late.
Hey man,
And
I
she was
got
like,
other priorities.
man, look, I was trying to download TM101 on LimeWire. It was just
Come
taking.
on,
It was
come
taking.
on. We MySpace babies, so you know it.
You know
You
what I'm
know it.
saying? I'm trying
Come
to
on,
download
you
all
already know.
type of stuff on LimeWire. I didn't have
You
time for college apps.
right.
But my mom, she's like, you wrote that very well. I think you're a good writer. And I'm like, there's no way I can be. I don't get it. I really enjoyed math. All these years later, as I write, I look back on it and I think to myself, like, you know what? This was actually coming from an early age. right? Like we used to sit around and play Scrabble sometimes to
Mm-hmm.
pass time, right?
Yeah.
Me and my
Yeah.
mom or just my family in general.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize like 12 years old or however old I was, I'm like, oh, I'm building that muscle that I would later use 20 years later. Um, and a lot of the times, the things I write are like culturally influenced. They have a lot of my tone and my personality in them. As a matter of fact, the greatest compliment I ever got was, "Hey Troy, the way I read that you sent, actually I read it in your voice." And so I'm like, "Okay, cool. There is value to me being my true self when I write."
Yeah.
But all these little anecdotes and things that I've heard are things that I've heard, and most of those are from my parents and the people I grew up around.
I got you.
And it taught me to have a listening ear because now it's like I can find inspiration almost anywhere with people saying. And that led to me, the first book I wrote by myself, my only solo published book, Homeless in Dallas. If you go to the dedication page, the first thing you see is "or Eli." That's my son. Because you realize that like the inspiration was never yours to begin with. It's just been passed down. You don't know how, like the inspiration that I said like came out of nowhere. Like, wow, when I was 12, I was playing Scrabble. I guess I've always been wanting to write. Well, I did great on my college applications because I've always been, my spirit's been calling for this. You don't know how long it's been sitting in you to do something. And I don't know where my mom got that from to make me want to play Scrabble, or where my dad got these sayings and things from that I now use in my newsletter. So I wanted to be spreading that spirit to him without him even knowing it, because you never know what comes back out once you get older, man. So I dedicated my first entire book to Eli.
Cool, man. That's dope, man. I was actually I had a question about that in reference to your kids a little bit later, but that's good to hear, man. Like, and then you can kind of have something to give to them as they grow older and they start to understand your work a little bit more. So that's a blessing, man. That's a blessing.
There you go, man.
The next segment we're gonna get into is called "Say Less, Little One." So in this segment, we talk about how our kids basically give us messages without saying much. We see it because we're there, we're fathers, we're in the thick of it on a day-to-day basis. So what are some things that your kids have exposed you to that an audience can never expose you to?
Oh man, it's so much. So like as I talked about, like being able to learn
Yeah.
or being helped, being raised by my
Right.
little sister,
Right.
not because of a reverse dynamic, just because I think I committed early on to like being able to be mentored or learn from so many different sources. So when I had a kid, my very first child, I realized like, wow, kids are just little humans.
Yeah.
And the quicker you realize that, the quicker you're able to like make this dad thing awesome for both
Yeah.
you and them,
Yeah.
right? You're not raising a baby. You're raising a human that will one day be an adult. They just small right now.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
with the children, you notice early on like pretty normal things, right? Like the hunger, the laughter, the sadness, the
Yeah.
sleepiness. And
Yeah.
those are pretty universal. Right?
Yeah.
As they begin to make their own personality, and every kid is different. That's the cool part about it. As they begin to make their own personality, you start to realize, like, oh, okay, cool. Like, this is like the mix of emotions, I think, is if you really pay attention to kids, you can see it. Like with
Yeah.
my baby, she's like
Yeah.
13 months now. I watch her sometimes cry as she's trying to laugh through the cry. You can see both emotions on her face at the same time,
Yeah.
but you have
Yeah.
to, you know what I mean? Like you can just kind of see it, right?
Yeah.
Like you can see, like for my son example, like you can see the difference between what pride looks like versus just pure excitement. You can see
Yeah.
what nervousness looks like versus anger or just anxiety, right? And it just comes from being shutting up sometimes and letting them talk to you or with their body, with their emotions, with their face. Um, One of the funniest moments that I learned about humans from babies, it was during the pandemic. So Eli was probably about 2 going on 3, and he, by then they're everywhere. They're talking, they're running, they're walking around. He's into everything, and hand sanitizers everywhere, pop, pop,
Right.
pop. Because
Right.
it's
Right.
COVID.
Yeah.
And I know he couldn't read at that time, and if he could, it wasn't that. He wasn't reading that. But he was like, "Dad, before we go, don't forget the sanitizer."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, I thought it was brilliant. And you know, a lot of times adults want to correct the kids immediately when they see something that's off.
Right.
But that I thought was, I could see that his brain was working because he was associating the two concepts together. He actually made it easier to say, and it was like sanitizer. And for whatever
Yeah.
reason, in that moment, I thought to myself, sometimes these kids be right about stuff, and
Yeah.
we be having it messed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though that was technically wrong or whatever. And then since then, you've been able to see so many times. Like one time, I was sitting there talking to him. He's in the back seat, and we were just driving. And sometimes you have no idea how much they pay attention. No idea. Even the babies, man, they pay attention. And he asked me something about school or maybe something, and he just said something simple, just as simple as, and he said, and you can answer in a way that feels like truth. Instead of, he said, you don't have to make me feel better. Just answer in a way that feels like truth, even if it'll hurt
Wow.
me. He said
Wow.
something like that. It's not an
Yeah.
exact quote,
Right.
but I'm driving like, wow. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I just appreciate that, because when's the last time you told that to somebody in your regular life, like
Yeah.
a big boy, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
And so it's just a reminder that we all just flat out humans, dog.
Yeah. Man, these kids. These kids.
Hashtag cheering. Hey,
Yeah.
what plural, dog? That's what I'm saying. The plural life. That's what's crazy.
Hey man, I the other day my son, and they sarcastic too. Like what the human part is a very accurate statement
They'll start picking
because
that up.
I told my son something the other day and he did something that had ticked me off, but I had to laugh at this statement. And like I always tell him like, hey son, you know, when I kind of get overly frustrated, I'll just say, hey, you know, son, I love you. You the best son. I told him, I said, you the best son ever. This sarcastic joker say, I'm your only son, right?
Yeah.
True indeed. You are.
And
You
then say,
are.
well, but did I lie, boy? I didn't. I mean, I just gotta call it like it is.
I said, true indeed. You are. You are. You are definitely my only son.
My dad says that now, but as an adult, he didn't say it growing up, but he's like, man, you my number one son. I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, but it's just me and my sister. But you
Yeah.
know, I still, I looked at, it's right. I'm number one.
Yeah. Yeah. But man, that's funny.
That's
You've published books, you know, to give people something to hold on to, not just read. Um, what do you think is harder, trying to get your words into form to put into a book,
Mhm.
or be this monstrumental like stature of a person for little people to emulate? Which one do you think is harder?
Whoa, by far, being your quote was the monumental figure
Yeah,
in a child's life, by
yeah,
far, because the thing that they don't tell you about parenthood,
hmm,
and maybe they did tell you, but it don't apply until you in it. Then you're like, okay,
right,
what the old folks say, understand it better by and by.
right, right.
You know, the rubber don't met the road. What they don't tell you is they are the perfect mirror
Yeah,
who you are, more so than a relationship like with your best friend, relationship with your husband, your wife,
yeah,
relationship with parents. They are the perfect mirror to who you are, because they're learning their emotions from you, the ways in which they react to certain things, the tone of voice, the sort of like internal locus of control that they have, the jokes, right? The looks, general propensity to be optimistic or pessimistic, the general sort of like love, the types of love that they want to show. Now every kid is not a carbon copy of their parent, and the funny part is you start to see how your kids are a perfect mix of the two
oh
people that
man,
made them,
yeah,
because they can't help themselves, right? So it's much harder because the things that they're throwing back at you are oftentimes things that you've given them. The things that you see from them are oftentimes, like, I remember my son was playing baseball, right? And you know, I love baseball. We talked about it a little earlier.
yeah,
And you know, the season was winding down. It was hot outside, and he just thought to himself, like, there's like 2 games left.
yeah,
You know, like, I mean, what if I just pick it back up in the fall?
yeah,
And I'm like, son, you know, it's important for your teammates. You know, it's about more than just running around outside and playing ball. Like, sports are great. You get to stay in shape, but you also get teammates. You also learn to do something that's challenging. You learn to do something better. We're not gonna be no quitters. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
blah blah blah. Which is a fair thought. I was thinking like a month later, I was in the softball league intramural, dog, and it was so
Yeah.
far away from my house
Yeah.
that I told them folks I was about
Hey,
to
man.
quit.
Hey,
Now,
hey.
and so like I
You
said,
can
damn,
quit for the commute, man.
yeah, well, I
You
know,
you you can quit for the commute. Okay.
I know, I did. But what I'm saying is like it seems so elementary and simple when you're looking at a
Right.
child to help them through something. It's always simple when it's not your own thing.
Right.
But when it's our thing, we have a bunch of qualifiers and different things that sort of make it different. Now, granted,
Jesus.
it was because of that that I did not quit because I said,
Yes.
what kind of example am I showing? Now, granted, whether he picked up on it or not, who knows? But it was the thought process behind the idea of like, you have to talk to them the same way you would try to raise yourself too,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Because we're still learning, right?
Yeah.
So this can't be no one-way street, you know. God is going to always put the answers around you, especially when you pray for them. Even when you don't pray for them, they be there. Our job is to be
Yeah.
receptive, keep our head on the swivel, and be able to
Absolutely.
take meaning from multiple things. And the
Absolutely.
kids got all the meaning because they're the
Yeah.
closest. They're the closest to having come from heaven. And we're a long way.
Right.
We're 30, 40 years away.
Yeah.
They're not that far away. Or maybe when we get older and become elderly, we'll get a little bit closer. But in this middle part, dog,
Right.
it's an ugly world out here, man. So a
For
lot of
sure.
times they're a lot more pure than we are, and they can teach us.
Man, Jesus. I had started laughing when you were getting into that last story about your son because you said like they're mirror of us, right? And they always say stuff back or see stuff that we do and, regurgitate it, right? So my the other day my oldest daughter, I always say, man, it ain't that type of party. Because if they get somewhere and they acting up or just doing
Oh,
something just
got
out
you,
of
got
character, I said, hey, come on, y'all, like it ain't that type of party. So the other day, my son had did something, and before I can even get it out, my oldest daughter, hey, it ain't that type of party. I said, I said, a
you.
word,
Hey,
you got,
look
you
what they,
got it.
what they do. Hey, look,
Yeah,
let them know.
yeah, you got it. And then
No,
I
you
didn't
recruit
even
a
have to get
backup. I
into it
like
with
that,
my
bro.
son, but
You recruit a backup. That's what that is.
for sure, I got it.
You brought in
Um,
reinforcements.
Next segment, real ones know. All right, so here we're going to talk a little bit about the business side of things. We've kind of been hitting into it throughout the podcast about your writing, marketing, all those good things. And you kind of said it early on a little bit, like what I'm saying, you had a couple instances and stages where it led up to you kind of understanding that okay, writing was kind of like just destined for you. When did those worlds collide between just personal and professional for you? So how did that all come about? And to say, hey, I'm gonna go this route and become the esteemed author that you are today.
Okay, so I went to business school with fam,
Right.
and they have business administration. You can go, I think, 4 different ways now. You got the supply chain way. Well, back in the day, it was accounting, finance, or you can do marketing. And so I was like, okay, I'll do marketing side because I always wondered like how they made commercials or what was I thought they were super cool, you know, like. And I remember one of my professors was like, "Troy, you're good at math. You should probably do finance." I'm like, "Well, I want to know about them commercials." And he said,
Yeah.
"Advertising is." He was like, "Advertising ain't nothing but making people want what they don't need, what they don't want, and want what they don't need." And my professor was just like, "Advertising is something. Advertising is nothing but making people need what they don't want and want what they don't need."
Right.
I do not know why that
Yeah.
made me want to do it more.
Yeah.
So,
Sign me up.
because I thought it was art, I thought it was interesting how art could drive a bottom line. Creativity, rather, can drive the bottom line, right? So I was like, okay. So then we get out of school. I try to figure out a way to get to an ad agency. I do such,
Yeah.
and I was a project manager at the time because that was the easiest way I can get in there. I had no writing. I wasn't trying to. I didn't even. I had no writing experience, so people just were going to hire me for what they thought I could do best, which
I
was
got
like
you.
handle these logistics. Jump up in there, and eventually, with me just poking my head into different rooms and just getting cool with people, some of the creative people out there started to ask me, "Hey, man, is there a world in which you can like come jam out with us, brainstorm with us some lines for this ad that we're trying to do?" And eventually picked up one or two of those little things. Next thing you know, I was able to make the transition, but it took about 7 years.
Okay.
And then once I was in the advertising as a copywriter,
Yeah.
now I'm living the life I rap about, because I was writing outside of work for probably about 2 or 3 years before I became a writer at work. But it wasn't until I was a writer at work too that now my brain all day is not writing about the same stuff, because I mean it's much different writing business versus writing outside of work. But what it did was allow me to be monochromatic in a way, to where like I was always thinking in letters, always thinking in words, always thinking in commas, phrases, always
Gotcha.
thinking in narrative structure. And it was that when I think I really turned the corner, because it felt like I didn't have to waste time changing my brain over when I got home to do something else. And this just made everything a lot more easy.
Yeah. Man, I bow down to writers. I can read. Man, hey, I know children are the future. I probably shouldn't be saying this, but man, hey, if it ain't got no numbers tied to it, man, I ain't
That's
gonna.
it.
Hey, that's the kid. Last question in this segment, but if your son or daughter were to pick up anything that you've written in the future, what would you want them to take from the messaging in what you wrote?
Okay, cool. So so every year for my son's birthday so far, I've just written him a poem.
Yeah,
Some of them are super simple. Some of them are like a little bit more emotionally tied. Some of them are fun, but it's just been themed about what age that he was turning. And so I think that when he grows older, he'll look back at those and like them,
yeah,
because the content changes as he gets older.
gotcha.
And we talk about the year ahead. It's just a kind
Yeah,
of a fun way to open up into it. Um,
that's pretty dope, man.
yeah, it was a way for me to connect with him, because I am a long distance co-parent, right? And
Gotcha.
that's always challenging, to find ways to sort of reinvent your relationship with him, his reinvent my relationship with his mom in many different ways, right? In order to catch up to how he's growing and find the different part of you that he is choosing to love at that moment.
Gotcha.
And so like I'm always head on swivel, looking to find a better way to connect with him. And that's been one of the things that's been a mainstay. I wanted, and most of the stuff is like that for him with that poem. As far as if either one of my children picked up things that I've written when they got older, what I want
Mm,
them to gain from it,
yeah,
I want them to know that the simpler the things I wrote got, the more complex, the more important it was,
gotcha.
right? And so, and I want them to know that you can do anything, because now look, I'm not delusional. I'm no J.K. Rowling. I'm no
Right.
Stephen King. I'm no Walter Dean Myers. What I am saying is this: I wasn't born a writer. I wasn't given an opportunity, and so what I want you to know, whether you're getting cut from the ball team, whether you're trying to go to prom with that coolest dude at school,
Yeah,
whether you want to find a way to build your own house when you grow older, either way, if you put your mind to it, you can figure your way out step by step. And every single thing that I've ever written has been birthed from a something that was not supposed to exist,
gotcha.
based on the ways in which my brain worked as a kid and the ways in which my life was set up. And so I want them to know that, because whatever they want to do, they should be able to do it.
Dope, man. This may be a cliche question. I know I said one last question in that segment, but Arthur, you have children. Potentially a children's book in the works, something that you would be interested in writing. What do you say about that?
You gonna laugh. I got like 8 of them just sitting there.
Wow.
They don't
Okay.
exist yet, but I have the concept, and well, they don't exist physically, but I've written them. I
Gotcha.
think the question is just, man, do we want? If I do it, I want to do it right.
Yeah.
And um, I don't know. I guess I just haven't put. I guess I just haven't walked through the process of making them. It could happen.
Hey, man.
Look, if you're watching this and you are a children's book animator and you would like to work with somebody like me,
Come on.
like,
Come on.
let's do it. I'm
Let's
serious
talk it.
about that. And also, I want to shout out to my boy Mike Wood. You know Mike Wood,
Yeah.
Mike Wood
Yeah.
Jr. Man, he's done a great job with these kids' books that he's been putting out over the years. Man, another example of just brute force putting his mind to it and letting his talent shine through.
See you. See now you don't even got an excuse.
Right? I know, man.
You
Well, my
just
mother-in-law, she's always like,
you
well,
just open yourself up to it. You don't even got an excuse now, man.
well, see, sometimes God just wants you to take one step, and then it's like, ah, man, next thing you know, it's the next couple steps. My mother-in-law be reading a book to the baby, and the baby love books. All kids love books, man. The baby love books. She wake up in the morning talking about some book. I love
Yeah,
that both of my kids have always loved to read.
yeah,
And she'll read them a book, and then she'll give me the baby, and she'll be like, you could have wrote that. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's always encouraging me in a way to like,
yeah.
nah, man, keep applying yourself with this stuff, man. You know, and yeah.
Hey, if you ever do publish one, man, you gotta buy her. All right, use some of that marketing strategy, like you said, to so I can buy one, so you can make me want to
Probably,
buy one of them books, man. And my kids love books, so definitely you got to support it
man. Have you,
and
man?
Shaq, man.
When I love the concept of like, what when Eli first learned how to read, it was so crazy.
Yeah,
Just watching, like, because they get to a point where they're reading a book and then they know what's already on the page.
yeah,
So
yeah.
then they kind of know what you're saying / can almost regurgitate what's on the
Right.
page, but they're not reading.
Yeah,
And they get to a point where they can see any picture and probably narrate what's happening in the book.
yeah,
That's still not. But when they get to the point where they're actually like, okay,
yeah,
the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. I mean,
yeah.
it's just that's
Woo.
probably enough to, what I mean? Like, I can't wait till the little one learns how to read. Like, it's just beautiful, man, watching
Man,
it.
my oldest, I had the nerve to give her the other night a Dr. Seuss book, and boy, I keep forgetting how long Dr. Seuss books are.
Bruh,
She got to
what book?
page 15. I said, baby, I'm gonna just take it from here. Okay.
It ain't that type of party.
I said, it's getting a little late. We got to get to bed. I
That
say,
is where you
I
try to
said,
skip
you
it.
doing a good job. But
You
look
try
at it,
to
look.
skip that shit, bro, and get to the end of it. They're like, no, I don't go like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Boy, you here.
Nah, you gotta reread.
Hey man, look.
That's a
But nah,
commitment.
she's at that stage now where she's reading herself, like you said. She's not just narrating or just putting context clues together of what's on the page. So
That's
she's doing
love.
a good job. But boy, woo, sometimes it gets slow. I
Exactly.
I said, girl, these frequency words kicking your ass, ain't
Well, you know how he do. He gonna tongue twist you up.
they?
Cause the
Man, look.
ham with the spam and the yes ma'am and all that, man. Dr. Seuss gonna tear you up.
I say you don't remember that word from the last 5 pages? He said the same
He ran it
thing.
back.
I was like, all right, cool, I got it. Dad got it. Hey man, this next segment is called Tucked In and Turned Up. All right, so we put the kids to bed and we have a little barbershop talk between me and you, just real life dad perspectives. And then also we're gonna get into a little fun segment game here too, at the end of it. First question: how do you make sure that you show up as the best version as a co-parent? So that would be the first question I have for you.
So co-parent first question. Yeah, best version of myself as a co-parent. So it's about patience and perspective, right? I'm a firm believer that no matter who you are, you're always trying to do your best. I believe I'm always betting on human achievement. And it's really hard to connect with your neighbor, people at work sometimes, get on the same page with even people that you're related to, right? And so in the back of my head, I'm always understanding that being the best sometimes means showing up as the one that is the most talkative. Sometimes it's the one that's the least talkative. Sometimes it's the one that's leading from behind. Sometimes it's the one that's waiting for direction. Sometimes it's the one that's giving out the direction. The best version of me is always going to be the one that is asking, how can I be best for the child in this any given moment? And sometimes you're not even asking that question out loud, like
Yeah,
internally asking myself.
yeah,
And obviously you're not always going to be the best, man. You realize that too. Um, and if you can give anybody else grace in the world for saying, like, everybody is in it to win it, everybody's doing the best that they can,
for
you know
sure.
you're doing the best you can, then why can't you give that to the people that you see out in the world, especially the ones that are involved in, like, your life and your kids' life, man. And that's why I think that we've succeeded in a lot of ways, man, and just trying to cut through as much of the excess as possible and really sort of show up in a way that says, like, all right, man, we know that maybe I wouldn't do it like this, maybe you wouldn't do it like this, but the way Eli needs it right now is like this.
Yes. That's special. I was doing a little digging, and on your website, in your about section, the
Hmm.
first thing that you have there was a quote that, or a question that said, "What was the most difficult thing? What's the most difficult thing for you to write about?" And your answer was about yourself. So I'm going to reverse that question, and I'm going to say, "What's the most difficult thing about parenting?"
Okay. The most difficult thing. The most difficult thing about parenting is how much it requires maximum focus.
Yeah,
All right. So when I'm not talking about maximum effort, I'm not talking about the grand gestures. I'm not talking about even like the stuff that makes you tired at the end of the day. I'm not talking about the money it takes. I'm not talking about like the mental gymnastics that from this thing to this thing. You got a birthday party and a baseball game. Oh, we're gonna, none of that. It's focus, because focus is like more than just like a mental thing. It's almost like a metaphysical thing. Like focus can make your body physically tired, but it's really all in your brain, right? So it's
right,
really taking everything over.
right.
And I think that's difficult because we're all the main characters in our own story.
Yeah,
Kids force you
yeah,
to make them the main character in the most beautiful way, right? And I think that like especially having a child in this house, right? Like, and with my wife, and the baby phase of this daughter being,
yeah.
just over 1 years old, that takes focus.
Oh man,
It's not just
oh
money
man,
and time and energy and physical effort. It's pure focus, right?
man.
And a different type of focus that takes from raising a boy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Cause my boy, that's my boy, but my girl,
yeah,
that's my girl. Like it's the same thing.
yeah,
Just and that statement makes perfect sense, even though on the paper it would look like I just wrote the same thing twice.
yeah.
It makes perfect sense, right?
Absolutely.
And you just find like, oh, the parts of you that they need the most are the parts that you have to focus on to
Gotcha.
continue to bring out of your own self, man. And guess what? I'm gonna go to bed tonight. You said tucked in, wake up tomorrow, and then the relationship I have will ask me to do it again. The relationship I have with the children ask you to rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and
Yeah,
repeat,
yeah,
because they value consistency before they even notice it.
yeah.
You know what I
Hey,
mean? And
yeah,
that's where that focus comes from. They
yeah,
value
man.
consistency and they don't even know it yet.
That was a great answer. Because for me, and you talking about the baby stage now,
Yeah.
I actually cringe because that is not my cup of tea. Is so, and me and my wife kind of understood that early on that okay, the infant baby stage is your wheelhouse, and me, I'm more so of the okay, once you kind of 3 4ish, then I like to kind of implement, so because I know you can sponge things up.
Mm-hmm.
But like
Mm-hmm.
you said, that every day in, every day out, focus, discipline around just raising somebody else, and when you're also in retrospect raising yourself as well. So
There you
so
go.
there's that. But I definitely absolutely agree with that for sure, 1,000%.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Your professional life is built on clarity, writing, strategy, and opinion. How does that translate to fatherhood for you?
So it's funny that you asked that. I am like very much so the open-minded, even if not free-spirited, open-minded person at work because I have to be, right? We only got 26 letters on this keypad. We got to
Right.
make flip and dip to build what I'm trying to build when I'm writing things. And like I said, that's both at my 9 to 5 and outside of my 9 to 5. Creativity is a currency, as is content and all the rest of the stuff. But I find as a parent, I'm actually more needed in some of the more logistical things, right? And that's kind of where my project manager brain comes in the bag. It's always a balance between the two.
Yeah.
Right brain, left brain, however you want to look at it. And
Right.
7 years as project manager, I did, and I've done about 7 years as a copywriter now. So it's right in between.
Gotcha.
And it's like, you know, I'm actually the dentist appointment scheduler. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually like looking up the summer camp type of thing. I'm doing the stuff around the house that like I'm a house husband in many ways as well, right? Like I do a lot of the things. The way I see it is, I'm sometimes I'm most effective as a dad
Hmm.
or as a parent, co-parent, in all the worlds in which I'm in on any given day. I'm most effective when I'm making other people's lives easier. And that may look like my task. You said your task is just to make my task easier.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
when the car is sputtering, it ain't because it needs oil change or it ain't because it needs a new engine. It needs some grease on the axles, and that just makes the
Yeah.
car go faster because it can spin quicker. And
Yeah.
sometimes somebody's got to just be there to just put the grease on the axles and make things easier. And then sometimes it's a thankless job, and then sometimes it's the best thing and most favorite thing I could ever do, because it ain't about the thank yous, and it ain't about sometimes even the noticing of it. It's just simply about seeing the fruits of your labor and it trickling down to the kids. Look, man, however you want to look at it, man, when the mama's life is easier, the
Yes.
children's life is better.
Come on
And
now.
that's not a
He talking.
sexist thing.
He
That is
talking
not
the
a
talk. He
yeah,
talking the
man.
talk, fellas. Y'all better listen.
You know what I mean? And like I said, I see that in both situations, man. Especially here at home with the wife, right? Like it's like, look, man, and they won't always notice that, but you can see it. The fruit of your labor sometimes just shows up in the children, and not necessarily sometimes even in the relationship. You know what I mean? And so I've committed to that, man. And like I said, I'm not always the best at it, and sometimes my life needs to be made easier too. And I try to speak up in those moments. But you know, a lot of times that's the way I feel.
That's special, man. That's special. All right, man. Last segment. Baseball guy, right?
Yeah,
Is it
man. What you talking about?
baseball guy? Okay. Okay. All right. So what we gonna do right here?
Uh huh.
What we gonna do in this last segment? We're gonna do a random top five baseball
Got you.
edition,
Hold on, got you
and
real quick, man. Before I get going, brother. Yeah. That's real. That's real. That's real Atlanta Braves. You know, royalty right there. You know what I mean? That's 1995.
hey, I root for the other red and blue guys, man. Up
Red
yonder,
Sox.
up north.
The Red Sox or the
Come
Twins?
on, man. Big B's over here. All right.
Look
All
good.
right.
Because look, you know what's funny about that? I like the Red Sox only because growing up, the Yankees beat us twice in the World Series when I was
Yeah.
a kid. So by contradistinction, that just made me like the Red Sox more. Sports are crazy, man.
Yeah.
Because they hate the
Oh,
Yankees. I'm like, bet I hate the Yankees too. I like y'all. An enemy of my enemy is my friend.
for sure. Facts.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
We're gonna do a random top five,
Okay.
and we're gonna make this you know what I'm saying, it's Black History Month, so why not? So I'm gonna give you top five Hall of Famers in no random order. In a random order, I'm gonna give you the players and you have to rank them from 1 through 5.
Are you
So
gonna give them all to me at the same time?
no, I'm gonna just give you one at a time
Oh, I
randomly,
gotta blind rank them.
and you got blind random. You got to tell the diesel how you ranking these things right here. All right,
Okay, so
we
all
ready?
five. So,
We ready for the first one?
all right, so we're blind ranking black
Blind ranking.
baseball Hall of Famers. Let's get it.
Black has my whole thing. All right, first one. Player number one, Hank Aaron.
Okay, he's gonna be number 3.
Okay, we're gonna put Hank at 3. All right, Jackie Robinson.
Number 4.
Okay, Ken Griffey Jr.
Man, he's gotta be now. I'm trying to save space at the top. That's what's making this hard because I'm hoping
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, I messed this up though. I'm gonna go 5. Ken Griffey 5.
Whoa. Okay. All right.
Got to put him below Jackie Robinson and definitely below Hank.
Barry Bonds.
Number 1, baby. I knew that was coming. All
Okay.
time, Barry Bonds, the GOAT. As I mentioned, I'm from the Bay, so you know
Yeah.
that's what I was
Yeah.
going.
And then 5, Willie Mays.
Number 2, perfect,
Okay. All right.
perfect,
Okay.
perfect.
All
So who
right.
we got? Barry Bonds, Willie
Barry Bond
Mays.
at 1, Willie Mays at 2, Hank at 3, Jackie was at 5, and Ken Griffey was at 4.
Okay,
Yeah. Yep.
cool.
Yep. Yep.
Let's get it. No, Jackie was at 4.
No,
Ken Griffey
Jack.
was
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Jack was at 4. Ken was at.
I'm cool with that
Dang.
list. I'm
I'm
so glad
sorry.
you came at the end.
Ken at 5.
Well, I mean, if we talking about
Ken.
impact, Jackie would need to be 1 in anyway, and then And then number two will probably need to be either Ken or Hank Aaron, just impact on the game itself.
90s icon, 90s icon,
Can't put it. Look, man, Jackie
Mr.
Robinson won the World Series.
630 himself at 5.
Dog.
Nah, but that's
Took
a
me
hell of
through
a list though.
the prettiest swing I ever seen. My boy.
Smooth
Prettiest swing I ever
the
seen.
swing of the 90s, okay?
Yeah, man. Nah, he
This last thing, dad gym. All right. So we're gonna have you give us a dad gym, something that you want to get to the dads that's out there, maybe co-parenting, not co-parenting, everyday dads that's in the thick of it, or dads that's not in the thick of it, something that may inspire them to kind of take into their lives.
Dad Jim, man, you hit me off the top, man. You know, I didn't have anything prepared, but that might make
Yeah.
this better.
It could be
Dad
funny.
Jim.
It doesn't have to be serious. It could be, hey, I gave one time. I said, hey, man, always keep wet wipes in the back seat. I gave that one time.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
It could be any
Okay,
type
so
of
definitely
gym.
keep wet wipes in the back seat.
Whatever.
I'm selling my back seat right now.
Yeah,
Got you.
yeah,
Got you.
yeah. So it could be any type of gym, whatever that means.
Dad Jim, I think a life hack for dads is to find time in the day where it's just you. You may have to create it out of thin air. You may have to wake up 30 minutes earlier, go to bed 30 minutes later. You
Yeah.
may have to you may have to drive to the store and come back. Whatever the case is, create that for yourself because everybody wins when you can fill your own cup up. And this ain't a youth thing, man. This is a family thing, bro. So you got to keep the family strong, and the only way to do that is to make sure you doing your part. You got your side of the street cleaned up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And you
Yeah.
can come to the table as much of you as possible, so that everybody can get some. And the days go better when you take some time for yourself. 30 minutes at least, but 15 minutes at least rather. But make sure you take some time for yourself.
Hey, man, I received that. Okay.
That's right,
I
man. Put it
received
on.
that. I needed that. I needed that this week, man.
I didn't say it was easy, bro. Trust me.
Yeah, I
But
for
gotta be
sure
your brain,
received that.
bro. Because if you come in with a half cup, man, everything's going downhill from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I always like to follow up the dad gym with the dad gym of mine as
Please,
well.
please.
And what I wrote down, I always like to try to write mine down because like I said, I'm not the guy.
You an
Okay.
analog dude living in the digital world. What is it? Analog.
Come on,
Analog
man.
dude.
The tone you use today becomes your child's inner voice tomorrow. So we spoke a lot about that throughout the episode. That tone that you use today, we like you said, I think you said it best. You want to create that fine line between having discipline within your kids, but not creating fear as well. So the tone you use today becomes your child's inner voice on tomorrow. So that's my dad gym for the week.
Man, I
For
love
all
that,
your
bro.
dads out there. Yeah.
I love that. It's always forward thinking, man. And I
Yeah.
want to say one more thing too, just in case you want to break this out.
Yep.
That being a parent is being a parent for me has been one of the greatest blessings of my life. Two of the greatest
Yeah.
blessings of my life.
Yeah.
Being a parent for me has been two of the greatest blessings of my life. Mainly because, not because of just the simple fact of raising children and having fun with them and watching them learn and watching them grow, but I think everybody needs a situation where they can learn from and apply to so many different things. Because everything is almost the same at the core of it all, the energy of it.
Right.
And I've treated parenting as that thing for me. It makes me better at work. It makes me better in relationships with friends and coworkers, like I mentioned before. It even it even adjusts the ways in which I analyze things like sports,
Right.
right? Or
Right.
like it's just certain fundamentals stick with you so hard that they show up in so many different things that you do, and you can choose that. You can almost choose where you want that to be. Some people do it the opposite way and let sports and allow and use sports to help them dictate life, which I think is still very effective. Or take the things that they learn at work and apply it to their personal life. My thing has been fatherhood, being able to apply to everything else, because it's the best mirror to me and the best motivation I've ever had.
Yeah. That's dope, man. That's dope. I'm raising my three over here, and like you said, it's a beautiful thing to just see their development, see them just take on parts of you and your wife, and especially yourself. My daughter, she gets my talking from me. My son, he's sarcastic and witty like me, And my other twin daughter, she's just she can be standoffish like me, but it's good to see those characteristics
You got the
in your
different
kids.
parts of you. It's
I
like,
got
oh, I'm
different
here.
parts of me stuff, and you can easily point it out. You know what's what is and what's
Right.
not or whatever. So you
Right.
can easily see it. Man, if this episode hit you, send it to another dad. All right. If it didn't, send it anyways. All right. Brands are built on strategy. Character is built on consistency. Legacy isn't published; it's lived. Again, y'all, this is the Everyday Dads Unfiltered podcast. Thank you again to my guest, Mr. Troy
Pleasure is
Harris. And I am Shaq Diesel, country boy. Hey, man, y'all tune in next week to the kid. Yes,
man. Thank
sir.
you so much, bro. I appreciate you, man. Peace out, y'all.
Anytime. Anytime, brother.